Hi, this is David Milligan with Elder Tree. Liontailing is essentially stripping a tree of limbs and foliage from the inside out and from the bottom up. The reason I'd like to educate people on liontailing is because it's being done everywhere and it's becoming a problem. It's the leading cause of big breaks in a tree, trees being completely blown over by wind, and almost never meeting their full potential in both size and beauty. I'm hoping that by raising public awareness, people doing this type of work will be forced to stop and educate themselves on how to do the work properly. Pretty much every landscaper does it, and so do probably 90% of other tree services. In my opinion, that's unacceptable, and this is why. What we're looking at is a flimsy metal rod meant to symbolize a scaffolding limb on a tree. There's 15 dimes attached to it at 12 different locations, and they symbolize smaller lateral limbs and foliage. Columns 4, 8, and 11 have 2 dimes because they symbolize larger and heavier lateral limbs. The point of this video is to show how where along a limb cuts are made will either relieve or add stress at the attachment point, and either increase or decrease the chance of a break occurring. The first demonstration will be of a liontail prune, and the second will be of the exact opposite. The tip of the limb in both demonstrations will have an initial sag at 4 inches. So we're going to make our cuts off the attachment point at columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This raised the tip of the limb up from 4 inches to 5 3/4 inches. 10 cuts were made, and 67% of the foliage was taken. Now, instead of stripping the limb from the attachment point, we're going to focus more towards the tip of the limb. We're going to make our cuts at columns 8 and 11. Again, the tip of the limb rose up from 4 inches to 5 3/4 inches. Only 2 cuts were made, and only 26% of the foliage was taken. So same amount of stress was relieved. The difference is in the different amount of foliage taken. Foliage is how a tree gets its food and energy, so it's important that the loss be minimal. The other difference, and this is what causes stress breaks, is how a tree responds to foliage loss. Depending on the age and vigorousness of the tree, it typically pushes out all lost foliage. Let's take a look at this happening. In the liontail demonstration, the tree will push out the new growth at columns 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. The tip of the limb is now at 2.5 inches, an 1.5 inches lower than the initial liontail prune. The limb will also flush out what it lost in the second demonstration. Since 8 and 11 both had 2 dimes, it will redistribute 4. The new growth will occur at 4, 6, 8, and 11. The tip of the limb is now at 4.5 inches versus 2.5. And this is why trees have breaks and blow over. Now that you're aware of the risks associated with this type of pruning, I urge you to prevent it from happening to your trees. One by one, we can help reduce the amount of trees needing to be removed due to reckless, uneducated tree work. Next time you take a drive, pay attention to the trees you pass by, and you'll see why I made this video exposing the lack of knowledge and carelessness. People are paying good money for guys to ruin their trees on both commercial and residential properties. That's wrong, and it shouldn't be tolerated. Trees are not bushes that can be replaced for $5. And more importantly, given how important they are to the planet, they deserve better than this. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.